I don't just talk about other people's stuff, I also make my own. Books in particular. To date, I have 4 books you can check out on Amazon. Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and the short story collection Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Hop on down to the description for Amazon links to all 4 books. Enjoy whichever ones you read, and enjoy the video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Omni viewer, and I'm doing another one of these quick unscripted videos just because I want to get a review out there of something that's just released. If you've been following the channel since last year, you may recall that in 2021, I did a retrospective on the discography of a music group known as Ayreon. Not so much a band as it is a supergroup of different singers and musicians, all brought together by one man, Arjen Lucassen, who uses all of them to tell this epic multi-album sci-fi fantasy story. You just have to watch the video in order to get the full effect. And after doing that retrospective, I reviewed the latest release in that particular story, Transitus, which got its own video. However, Ayreon is not the only music project that Arjen Lucassen has going. He has all sorts of different things going on at different times, and whatever album comes next is the one he just feels the most compelled to do. One of the other projects he does that I would say is my second favorite after Ayreon is a project called Star One. Now, in contrast to Ayreon, where Arjen tells his own sci-fi story, Star One is where he expresses his love for other sci-fi stories. In particular, sci-fi movies. Every song on a Star One album is based on a sci-fi movie that he is a huge fan of, because Arjen's a big sci-fi nut. So, there have been 2 Star One albums so far. The first one, Space Metal, is themed around the idea of space, or space travel, stories that take place on other planets, something involving starships, you get the idea. So on there you have songs based on movies like The Empire Strikes Back, Frank Herbert's Dune, Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, 2001: A Space Odyssey, so on and so on. The second album, Victims of the Modern Age, went for a theme of dystopias, societies that somehow oppress mankind, albeit in a sci-fi kind of way. So that had songs based on The Matrix, Planet of the Apes, Blade Runner, Children of Men. I think you get the idea. Well, now we finally have a third album, Revel in Time, which, as I'm sure you can derive from the title, is built around the theme of time. Whether it is time travel, or time somehow playing a role in the plot. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you which movie each track is based on. It's public knowledge by this point anyway. So, on this album, Fate of Man is based on The Terminator, 28 Days Till the End of Time is based on Donnie Darko, Prescient is based on Primer, Back from the Past, you might be able to guess, is based on Back to the Future, Revel in Time, the title track, is based on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, The Year of 41 is based on The Final Countdown, The Bridge of Life is based on Frequency, Today is Yesterday is based on Groundhog Day, A Hand on the Clock is based on Source Code, Beyond the Edge of It All is based on Sapphire and Steel, and Lost Children of the Universe is based on Interstellar. Now that's quite a lineup, and the overall effect is really good. This is, of course, a prog rock album, prog metal, you get the idea, it's in the rock metal genre, but I've always said that Lucassen has a style that's kinda his own. Even though it's influenced by stuff from the past, he still has his own unique way of composing music that when you hear it, even though he brings in all sorts of other singers and musicians, you still know it's him, especially if you recognize it. So that it carries over here. It's not necessarily as prog as something like Ayreon, of course, but it still has that distinct sound, that distinct musical etherealness, I guess you would say, that lets you know whose music this is. And, of course, me, I'm already a fan. I already think his music is great, and Revel in Time really did not disappoint. Now, you may be wondering, of course, how does each song adapt each movie? I think it adapts them very well. It's never an exact one-to-one adaptation. Little things are thrown in here and there, and specific names are never mentioned, just to, I guess it's for legal reasons, but it still is something that keeps them from being exact adaptations. Like, say, on this album, a song that is about a movie that doesn't mention religion or God of any sort might reference a pantheon of gods at one point for dramatic effect, or the Groundhog Day song, Today is Yesterday, refers to the main character as Billy, as in Bill Murray, as opposed to the character's actual name. But honestly, I don't think that's a problem. Again, I think it's mostly done for legal reasons, but either way, it's still, you can still tell when you're listening to these songs what they're about. You can still tell, oh, that's the movie it's based on, even if I hadn't named them for you. Now, on the other hand, suppose you haven't seen one of these movies, which is possible. On every Star One album, there's always like one or two movies that I either hadn't heard of before or I did know about, but I just haven't gotten around to seeing yet. And in that case, I don't think that negatively affects the listening experience at all. You're still listening to an enjoyable song, if you like this kind of music, of course. So just listening to it and not knowing what it's about still leaves you with a good song. And hey, maybe if you really, really like that song, it'll inspire you to go off and track down that movie so you can get all the references. A note has also got to be said about the cover art. The cover art, again, this is atypical for Star One. It's more like what you would expect to see on an Ayreon album. Then again, the last Ayreon album didn't have a typical Ayreon cover either. So the style here, it's really neat. Like, it's got this weird, complex look to it that's like half technological, half organic, with odd, irregular shapes, and incorporating the idea of time into the whole image with all these different clock faces and having this odd room that doesn't seem like it quite exists in any known realm you can think of. It's a really neat sci-fi image, and I believe there are posters that were made of it. I don't know if they'll ever be available individually, but I'd have one. So Revel in Time is another great entry in the Star One discography. It's only the third album, but I'm sure there are other places it could go. I mean, just think of all the different sci-fi concepts you could build an album around. Robots, alien invasions, lost worlds, nature run wild, steampunk, kaiju. Can you imagine? So, until we get those, if we ever do, Revel in Time is still great. And in the spirit of how the title track is based on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, it gets 23. But you knew I was thinking that if you had traveled through time. Anyway, just wanted to get that out there. The album has released on the day that this video is uploaded. I pre-ordered mine, so I got it earlier. And, well, I recommend giving it a listen. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. Congratulations, you reached the end. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to consider supporting us on Patreon. Of course, the other way to support us is to go to Amazon and check out our books, Operation Red Dragon, The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, The Occult Mafia, Emerald of Maddox City, and Assorted Absurdities, Tales of Kaiju Punk and Other Genres. Also check the description for links to DeviantArt and other platforms we operate. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.